Today I am going to show you a little bit about how to use mass actions. Um, as you may know, the key to the difference between a dashboard and an analytics application, right? A dashboard is the thing that you may glance at before or after you do actions, but an application is where you act. And we want to empower you to make really actionable content and really make that action streamlined. So I'll link to a blog post where I talked a little bit about how we're kind of pivoting on our actions. I think we've gotten that first phase done, and right now what we're doing is we're focusing on how do we reduce the clicks and make things more obvious so that you have to do less training for your users as well as save them time and create content that's really centered around a particular action flow. So I'll show you how to set that up, and in particular we just launched a new feature called Mass Actions which plugs into the Salesforce Mass Action Framework. So I'm going to walk you through how to set that up. So first off, you need to make sure that you have an existing mass action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Object Manager, and you may already have one set up, but in case you don't, I want to show you how you would go ahead and set something like this up. And let's pick an object. In my case, I want to do the case object. So here's the case object. We can look at the button links and actions and see what's available. But I'm going to go ahead and say create a new action. So here we have a new action. Now a mass action, in order to be a mass action, it has to both be a quick action, it can't be a standard action, and there's only two types here that are supported. So the two types are create a record and update a record. So in this case, I'm going to try update a record. And then let's give it a label. Or let's actually call it update cases. There we go. And we'll give a message. And all right, so now we'll go ahead and we will save our action. And of course, I've chosen something that's a little bit already in use, modify cases. So let's try modify, just so it's different from what's already there. So now we have this action. Now, where you need to make sure it's configured in the layouts is where you configure basic quick record actions. But what we want to do is go to search layouts for Salesforce Classic right here. And let's go to our list view, and we'll just click edit right here. Now you see we have this little shell UI here, and we can see our new action that we've added, modify cases. I've got some existing things that I already added, but I'll go ahead and add modify cases right here. So now it is a selectable quick action in the list view. And because it's available in the list view, now it will also be available in the Tableau CRM Mass Action Framework. So now that that is set up, let's go over to my dashboard. So this is a dashboard I've started. We've just got some global filters, some charts, and I want to add a table. Now, I also want to save myself some time, and I imagine I'm going to be doing this on multiple dashboards. So what I've done already is created a new component. So in here, I've got this component. This is just a values table, and it is a values table that is on the cases data set, as you can see. So let's add this action right to our table. So we're going to use the link widget and just drop this right there. And let's call this modify. Now, I can go and set a link to, I want this link to be a mass action, and I can choose the query, and that will be the query that backs this table right here in the action column. Now, in order for it to show up in the available actions, you need to make sure actions are configured. Now, you can do this the old-fashioned way by going to the data set and adding the actions from within the edit data set page. What I want to do is show you the new way that we have. If you just want to add this right here for this one use case, but not add it everywhere, you now have that option. So I'll double click on this table just to open an editing. And now from each one of these pills, I can configure actions. So you see how I have a configure actions right from the case ID. And in this case, I'm just going to set up case ID as the ID field. I will allow the open record. I'll just choose all, but feel free, you can also go in here and look through, and we should see our modify cases action right there. So that means it's working, it's set up, it is available. So I could just enable just that one, just to be safe. I'll just enable everything because I want to have more actions available in my case as well. So once that's set up, click done, and remember you could do that on the data set as well, but I'm just going to do this on the query. So now that is configured. So now when I go in here, first off is I want to choose, now this is the developer name, the alias of the column ID is the case ID, and so I'll select that, and now I can see I've got any of those actions available. So I'm going to go ahead and select modify cases right there. And now we're ready to go. So let's also make this a little more clear, modify all. There. So I'm going to save my component, first off, and then let's go ahead and add that component to this dashboard. So we just drag the component widget right here onto the dashboard. I'm going to click the setup button, and that's my mass action table. And we'll click done. And I'm going to stretch this out a little bit so we can see more. And now I've got this modify all button right here. So now we can kind of start to play with this. And I'm going to make selections. We can find a couple things, start looking down. Maybe I want to choose just some things that are escalated. Now we're down to 0. So see if we can kind of get back to where we want to say, let's say I just want to look at chat. There. So now we're down to a set of 3 cases. So let's say this is 3 cases. I really want to prioritize these. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and actually and modify these. So let's say, all right, and now if you want to, you're curious, you can say, hey, OIC, remember that mass actions will work on up to 100 records at once. If there are more than 100, it will only operate on that first 100. So I'm going to go ahead and continue, go to this modify cases. So now I can kind of go ahead and update the status. I can update, and remember that this UI is fully customizable, that you can specify what's in here in that Salesforce setup. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and just update contact and make sure that they're all status escalated, and then we'll hit save, and we'll get a confirmation dialog, update 3, and there we go. So now I'm able to update everything in bulk, one action, and I can place this on the dashboard so it's really recognizable. You don't kind of have to hunt and hover and find that menu. One other thing I did want to show you is, some people are asking, well, what about selection? Is it possible to just only take an action on a subset of these? So let me show you how you could go ahead and do that. So the first thing is, let's go and grab a list picker, and we will set that up here. And then I'm going to create a custom query. So I'll use the cases object. First off is I want to group by case ID. And then we probably want to have something that's a little bit more readable. Let's see, I think we want to do like case subject would be much more readable. So I'll just group by those, or I could also do this, group by this, and a string formula for this, but let's just add this for now. And I can take that and drop it into my list picker here. Now also let's look at, so what we have for this is I have ID hyphen subject. I may actually choose that maybe you only need subject. But maybe I'll do subject hyphen and ID. But you could kind of play with around the format. If you don't need the ID, you could take that out. You could also put in the count of rows if you kind of want to see how many there are. So we could just kind of play with this format so that it has something that's really viewable to your users. In my case, I think the subject is the most important. The ID is just kind of icing on the cake. So now let's play with this and now see how I have these descriptions and I have the ID and I can go through and I can just select. So the good thing about this is now I can reduce down the table. So remember that case we had before is where we filtered down to those three. And actually let me update one more thing because I want to change this from single select to multi-select. There we go. I'm going to save this. And now let's go back actually to our root table. And here we go. Let's go back to editing. And we might need to refresh. So let's just re-add our component. And there we go. All right, so now I can go to this dashboard. We can run this dashboard. And now as I'm kind of filtering around, I see two things, but maybe I don't actually want to update both of these. I can drop down this list. Let's pick the one I actually do want to update. Now we get this list down to a manageable. This is just the one, and now I can go through here and say modify. I can say confirm the IDs if I want to, and go through and I can update this case right here. So there you have it. Now you can create one-click mass action editability. Add that into your dashboard. You can make as many of these buttons as you want. Think about the common workflows that you want to do, anything you want to streamline. It's all about doing more actions, less clicks for your users. Thanks for watching.